Well, as you can see, I'm not Jeff Simon. So, unfortunately, our speaker had a medical emergency, I believe, and wasn't able to make it. We hope that we can get him re-signed, because I was actually excited to hear from him too. So now you're stuck with us. So in the moment, we scramble and say, what do we talk about? And then Mary said, let Matt talk. He loves to talk. So Matt's going to talk about a few things that are going to go on campus this spring and summer. And at the same time, if that goes quickly, Mary and I are here for open forum if you have any questions for us. It's nice of you to have a chat. We haven't had one of these in a while. But before we start talking, I'd like to have Wendy Backman come up. We had a wonderful event last night, and it was so nice to see it again. And I feel like everything I say is something Wendy's going to say, so I'll just hand it over to Wendy. Go ahead.
Okay. It's good. It's on. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we survived, and raise your hand if you were here last night. I just want to get an idea. Okay.
Raise your hand if you want to.
So we had a great night. So thank you to those of you that came. We sold out the event, and we had I don't know how many people were here. Probably close to 350 people were here. So it was great. Fox Run staff did a fantastic job. Maintenance, housekeeping, dining, everybody just pitches in. It's so wonderful, and you'd never know last night that this was packed with people in this room. So they do a fantastic job. Hats off to them. So just a couple housekeeping things. We had a lot of food left over. So those trays of baked goods that you're seeing, the two big round ones are from Market in the Square. So I just wanted to let you know, he said to please give them to the residents. And then the smaller tray is the cinnamon rolls with the little cookies. They're from C's Custard, which is right across from the Country Club. And I didn't know C's Custard wasn't custard and like burgers, but they have a pastry chef who made everything, and she's fabulous. And she asked me if I would bring them to coffee. I told her I would bring them to coffee hour. So I just wanted to let you know to go there because they have fabulous stuff. And the other thing is baskets everybody wants to know about. And Melissa helped me earlier. We came in and Marjorie picked up something that she won. And other than one other person here, I think there weren't anybody else that comes to coffee hour, Melissa said, so I apologize. But we'll call you if you did get a basket. We will be calling you, okay?
Wendy, did you win?
10 years I have not won a basket, and I again did not win a basket this year. So you can guarantee it's not rigged because I've never won a thing. So thank you, everybody.
It really was a wonderful event, and so after everyone started clearing out, we stuck around for a little bit, and she's right. There's probably more crumbs in my office from another half hour than in this room, and I got to see Nick and Brian turning everything over and putting it back together. And it is remarkable to walk in and see that as if it never happened. But it really was a great event. So with that, I don't have my list. I think we're just going to go right to Matt. And Matt's going to give just a synopsis of some projects that we have, and then we'll open it up if you have any questions for us. Good luck, Matt.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? I have Kevlar on, just so you know. Okay, I just want to talk about a couple things. Obviously, it's spring. Actually, this is probably the second time this year we've actually had a stint of more than 4 days of not raining or snowing. But I will say, obviously, spring's here. So a couple of the projects that we've already been gotten on our way already is all the patios, the bistro patio, memory care. Those have been completely pressure washed, resealed. That's something that we do typically every other year. So that work has just been completed. We obviously got all the benches out when we had the first mini summer, which was 2 weeks ago, and then of course it snowed 2 days later. But at least we got all the benches out. I do know that we do need to order some more benches. We kind of got them all out there first, and then I'll be kind of reconfiguring on how many more that we need. Okay. If you also notice, we also had all the lawns rolled. Okay. They get really bumpy and so on and so forth. So what we do is we try to get them rolled. The lawn care spraying company, they just got done doing their first spray, if you will, for liquid aeration for this year. And I want to say, not that I want to toot my own horn, but obviously if you remember seeing these lawns 4 or 5 years ago, they were in pretty rough shape. And something like this does take a long time because it is like 52 acres worth of grass, you know, so there is a little bit of grass we have to take care of. But I want to say that it has come around. There are still certain spots that we have crabgrass, stuff like that, and those we try to pinpoint as we go. Not to mention all the damage from the couple snowfalls that we had this past year. And so that's being repaired as well. Okay, so the next 6 weeks are going to be pretty busy for us. We have a lot of different projects going on. And I'm just going to kind of go in a timeline of what's going on first. Obviously, starting next Monday, we're repaving 2 parking lots. First parking lot is North Arborview and also the health center. This wasn't supposed to happen until for another 2 or 3 more weeks, but the contractor, I was kind of at his mercy. The job that he was supposed to start got canceled, so he was going to be coming to us first. So just for a reminder, in the North Arborview lot, all of your vehicles must be out by 6 o'clock Monday morning. So I would prefer Sunday evening if you can. Because if your battery is dead or something like that, we can be notified and then we'll figure something out after that. But if you have any issues or if you do want maintenance to move your vehicle, we will move it to the South Arborview lot, okay? But please give us the work order today or tomorrow. Don't do it Sunday night at 7 o'clock, please. Unless there's something seriously wrong, we understand that, but please, we are willing to help with that. My advice is that there's 2 other parking lots that you can park in. I would park in either the South Arborview lot or the small auxiliary lot, which is across from patio home 618. Thank you, Sue. I would prefer you not to park in commons because at the same time, all the health center staff is going to be parking in the commons as well. This project was supposed to turn into a phase 1, phase 2, but they're bringing all of their equipment to do both lots at the same time. So, and in my line of work, if you can get the contractor, don't tell them no, you can't come. Okay? So I'm going to do everything that we can so we can accommodate this. According to theory, they're going to be milling both lots on Monday and hopefully starting to pave on Tuesday. Worst case scenario, Thursday morning, you'll be able to drive back on there. Possibly Wednesday night, weather pending. Even if it rains, they can still do paving as long as it's not a torrential downpour. Okay? Any questions for the paving or the parking lots? Yes?
The big divot that is over.
They're repaving everything in the North Arborview lot, and there are a couple other areas that are being fixed coming in from California Road. Yes, that whole T area is being fixed as well. There was a couple other spots where they mill out real quick and fix at the same time. Yes?
When do we get to go back into those lots?
Repeat the question.
Thursday.
So the question was, when can we go back in the lots? According to theory, by Thursday morning. Okay. Now, please remember, on the north, you will not be able to even use that entrance in north. Okay. If you want to walk, you're more than welcome to walk on the sidewalk, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of equipment in there. I please strongly suggest you only go in and out of the South Arborview lot or entrance, please. It's very important. There's going to be a lot of equipment there. I do not want anybody to get hurt. And after they mill the lot, it's going to be very rough and bumpy, and it's not going to be safe to walk on.
Remind the carports to move too.
And also, this is including carports. Everything in North Arborview is getting completely paved, so all of the carports, anybody that's parked in carports has to be moved as well.
Matt, they can still go in the side door, right? Right by the, where the Rose Hill was?
Yes. You will be walking on grass if you decide to go through that one exit door. Okay, but remember, there's going to be equipment parked everywhere. I don't know exactly where it's going to be parked or how it's going to be parked, but this is very large equipment that's going to be doing this work. they're not, half the time they're not going to see you. So please stay away from that area. It is very important, okay? Any other questions? Okay. The next item, now that weather is starting to break, we still have to finish the fire pit area and the rose garden. The fire pit area, we still have to install the burners and the stones and everything else inside there. He may be planting grass there again or putting in sod. That may be happening within the next couple of weeks. But the actual plants and shrubs will not be put in there until probably the end of May. The plants aren't even at the nurseries yet, okay? So more likely that's going to be happening at the end of May. Same thing with the rose garden. The rose garden, where they're going to be putting in the water feature, if you will, where they're going to be laying a lot more slate rock where that rubber mat is, they may be starting that within the next 2 weeks. It's kind of pending, weather pending, and when they have an open day to do it. But again, the final planting of that will not be done until the end of May. Yes?
Do you plan on buying furniture for the fire pit?
Repeat.
Do I plan on buying any furniture for the fire pit? I will look into that when it's all completed. It's kind of one step at a time for that. When we get down there, because there's a lot of stuff here that I'm doing here that has to do with capital, and Jill really beats me on this type of stuff, okay? So when we get to that point, because there's a couple other things that we did not plan on already this year, so when it gets to that point, we'll see what we can get.
When it's completed, will residents be able to turn it on and off?
No.
No.
No. When the fire pit needs to be on, you'll have to call me and say, there is a special key that you have to do to turn on the gas to light the fire pit.
Yeah, just like this up here.
Correct, same thing with the fireplace out here. Any other questions? Okay, so next item up for bids. Pressure washing. There's going to be a pressure washing company coming here to Fox Run and pressure washing all of the Arborview apartments and all of the patio homes. That's going to be happening on the week of May 8th to the 14th, okay? That's including all the patios, patio homes, the siding, all open patios in the Arborview apartments. Those will be pressure washed. The ones that are screened in, be patient, we're going to figure out a way to do that. Expect the second floor. The first floor is a little bit easier. Second floors, we'll figure out something. We might just do like a mini dry wash from the inside, and that's all we can really do for that. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. After the pressure washing, now we get into another project that I've started. Jill really loves me. Bistro renovations. Yes. Yes. Ooh, there's no fireworks yet. Bistro renovations. The bistro is going to be closed starting May 15th. Okay? It's going to be a 2-week project. Okay? I will have details at the end of this talking about what's going to be happening. We'll be opening up the Oak Room. Lisa will have more details on that, on how we're configuring that. But in the bistro renovations, what's going to be happening is we're going to be replacing all the flooring, all new lighting, okay? There's going to be a couple different features, new features in the cooking line, where there's going to be a very large pizza oven that Lisa has a lot of different themes and plans for, okay? There's going to be a all new millwork for all the counters going down the line, okay? And we worked with a consultant that does these type of things, and she's worked with Lisa in regards to make the flow better, to make things more visible, so on and so forth, which also is including new equipment, new cooktops, grills, quieter coolers. Yes, they do. We spent a lot of time in designing this and going through a lot of different, and taking all of your feedback as well. We do know that noise is an issue. When we're redoing all the lighting in the bistro, all of the ceiling tiles are going to be replaced at the same time with a true acoustical rated tiles. Okay? So, like I said, we've taken a lot of feedback, or we've taken that all into consideration in designing this, okay? The bistro is gonna be getting a minor facelift as well, as far as some new tables. No, bistro, I'm sorry, not the bistro. The bar is gonna be getting new tables and new chairs for the bar to kind of separate that area a little bit as well,
Yes.
okay? What else am I missing in the bistro? There's going to be all new millwork, included all custom garbage cans. This is actually kind of a nice thing where there's not going to be 4 different garbage cans that weeble wobble, okay? It's going to have, it's actually going to be kind of like custom and integrated into the columns. So it'll look like it's all part of the columns. Like I said, there was a lot of design that went into this from, and the consulting group was called Roth Consulting Company. Yes?
Is there any acoustical dampening going to be done around the piano area?
Yes, ceiling tile.
Question?
Yes.
Repeat the
Oh,
question.
the question was there any acoustical by the piano? Yes. Like I said, all the ceiling tiles are going to be replaced, and I'm working on both of the main salad, or the 2 main coolers that are located in the millwork. They are, let's just say, they have sound dampening type material inside of them as well. They're also not 15 years old where it doesn't sound like a freight train. Basically, so that is going to help as well. I am working on, if you remember the one soffit going into that curved soffit that overlooks the line, I'm working on some fabric to get laid into that soffit as well. So,
One last question.
Yes.
How about trays? You know, we're all carrying 1, 2, 3 plates at a time sometimes. Are they?
There's trays there.
There's trays.
Only a few, is it?
There's 2 dozen.
Any other questions?
any other questions? Yes.
Are you gonna use the rotisserie ever again?
Yeah, that was nice.
Yes. Yes, I'm not cooking, this is Lisa, but yes. Lisa's shaking her head. I'm sorry, the question was, do they plan on using the rotisserie? Yes. The rotisserie was planned, like, it's not just gonna be right there.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be placed in a spot where it's still visible, and they're gonna be using it more often, yes.
Good, because it smelled wonderful.
It always.
It always has, yes. Yes, Sue?
Will breakfast and lunch still be available, but in the Oak Room when the bistro's closed?
Yes, we still have to iron out all those details. Yes, but, yes, we won't stop feeding you, trust us.
So essentially, everything that you have had in the bistro is going to be available in the Oak Room for that 2-week period. 2 weeks?
Yes.
For the 2-week period. So there'll be breakfast, lunch, and happy hour.
Thank you.
You knew what my question was going to be, right?
Yes, Lisa?
Happy hour will be in different locations, and we will notify you ahead of time to know where that will be.
So Lisa's going to have a little fun with happy hour and move it to different locations. And we'll let you know an hour before. No, we'll let you know in advance what it's going to be.
We're calling it mobile happy hour.
We'll find it.
Any other questions about the bistro? Yes.
What kind of stools did you say you're buying for the bar?
Bar stools.
Why is it, you're taking those out, putting new ones in?
We're putting new ones in that have like a fabric, that are different, that are a little bit easier to clean, that are easier to use, more of a commercial type.
Less slippery,
Less
or you
slippery.
don't slide off. So it should be a lot better, but they're going to be about the same size.
So just so you know, what we're going to do is we will be taking pictures as the demo starts, okay? But I will be blocking off all the windows. So no peeking. Okay? So we're gonna have a little fun with this, okay? And do not try to tip off my maintenance crew to open up doors, please. Okay, but yes, we will have pictures, and Jill will be posting them on the app. Okay, showing different days of demoing and so on and so forth. But then we will have like some form of an unveiling. So there's a lot of different moving parts to this project. It's taken a long time to kind of get everything narrowed down to a 2-week period. There's going to be a lot of different contractors working in and out of here. One of the biggest issues that I had was getting the equipment here all at the right time. So originally this was supposed to be for May 8th for 2 weeks, but we had to push it off one more week. But I'm going to say it should 98% be completed within that first 2 weeks. There might be a couple of tweaks here and there, but we'll have what they call a soft opening, I guess. Any other questions about the bistro? Okay, so that will take us into basically the end of May. What's happening after the end of May? Well, planting day.
Yes.
May 25th is planting day. So obviously, I have to work with the lawn care people in regards to planting day, making sure that he drops off at least 50 yards of mulch, which is pretty much a tractor trailer load, for when we have to remulch after we plant all the flowers. That's going to be happening in the last week of May as well. Okay, all the patio home beds and a lot of the other beds around Fox Run campus will be taken care of the last week of May and first week of June, as long as it doesn't snow, which you never know. So I'm looking to have pretty much, all of these projects completed by our summit, which is June 14th. So there's a lot on my plate, not to mention all our daily work orders and our turnovers, which marketing is turning over these apartments like nothing. So I have 5 of them going on right now, and I have another 4 of them coming up within the next week. So there's a lot going on, okay? And again, if there's any questions or concerns, please hesitate to ask. Any other questions or other ways you want to roast me?
Sue?
Sue?
In our resident garden area that was brand new last year, is there any more dirt or mulch or anything that can be added to our beds? Or are we totally on our own?
I've already looked into that already. Last year, your beds were only half the size. And when the beds only were down this far in dirt, you only had 8 inches or 10 inches of dirt. Now the beds are twice the size. So even if the bed shrunk 2 inches, you still have 17, 18 inches of dirt. So I would say for this year, I think you should be fine because you have twice the amount of dirt that you did last year. The only difference now is that it's just down a little bit further, okay? I would say, I know people are starting to plant now. I didn't plan on getting any topsoil here for at least another month or for at least another 4 or 5 more weeks. Those beds are 4 foot by 8 foot, and now they're twice as deep. So saying you need more dirt, you already have twice as much more dirt as you did last year. If you want just a top dressing of topsoil, we can talk about it, but I mean, I think you have a lot of dirt already. Would anybody else agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
Can you handle a compliment?
No. I'd be confused, sure.
Thank you for getting the patio home awnings up earlier this year. I think we all appreciate it.
They caught me off guard when they found when they said, "Do you mind if we come early?" I'm like, "You don't realize how happy you're going to make a lot of people." There's another thing too, and this is something else as far as patio homes are concerned. I know there's a lot of gutter damage. It is on the list for Besroy contractor to come here and replace the gutters. It is on their list, but if you're aware of a lot of contractors, I'm kind of at their mercy. I do know within the next month that the list is out to them. They will get here and get that repaired. Yes?
Do you care if I fix my flagpole over the broke and you guys have to then take it out to fix the vinyl siding that broke behind it?
We can talk about that later.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Bob?
Talking about the planting at the end of May, we do a lot of annuals every year. It seems to be the general scope of flowers. I just wondered why we don't use more perennials that would sequentially go. We would have spring flowers right now besides just daffodils. And then you could have much later flowers with hostas. I know we have a lot of deer, but you know, there are ways to do that and have sequential, staged type plantings other than annuals that have to be planted early, take half the summer to start really producing flowers, and then they're 4 feet tall, and then it's over.
Our planting day, Bob, has been a tradition here at Fox
I'm
Run.
not saying don't do it, I'm just saying have more perennials.
I'm taking it only because I arranged the planting day, so I would have to agree with you. Peg Fletcher is behind our planting day, but I think, you know, like what you're saying, plant the bulbs at a different time of years. I know nothing about it, but if you or anybody else want to help direct us on what time of year that we need to plant these things, I think we'd be more than willing to do it. Because I love how the daffodils come out, you know.
Years ago,
Or
right,
lilies, star lilies, all of those.
years
Big
ago,
lilies.
the bed right in front here, the daffodils came up, they faded, and all of these tulips came up. And we have, marketing has pictures of it, and that was probably 10, 12 years ago. It was beautiful, so,
And then
and over time, I don't know if the bulbs disappeared, but I think that's a great idea.
They do, they, you know, over
Yeah.
time with bulbs in particular, but I'm talking more perennials that are more consistent.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do it.
Tulips are.
Yes,
Wouldn't happen this year. Those orders have already been placed,
I understand.
like 2 months ago.
But yeah, so it wouldn't happen this year, the point was, because the order's been placed, but I think that's a great plan going forward.
Yeah, it doesn't have to all happen in 1 year.
Right.
I mean, it could be a sequence of, just like you're doing now, with everything else. Just
Great.
do a mixture so you have constant blooming, which you brought up, Bill,
Great suggestion.
and something that goes right through the fall, late fall. And they all do that just like bulbs. I mean, you have early crocuses, then you have tulips, then or daffodils, then some tulips are early, later, so on and so on.
I wish I knew more about it because it's like a foreign language. Because Mike Maloney used to, actually Ellen Maloney was here last night, and she said the flowers around her house are terrible, but the flowers here are beautiful. Mike spent all his time doing that. He was here every Sunday planting, and that's not my forte. But yeah, we should definitely do more.
I just bring dirt. Yes,
Matt, you took out those deer-eating bushes along the fence?
Arborvitae.
yes,
Yeah,
arborvitae.
arborvitae, thank
See,
you.
I said-
Cedars or whatever. What's your plan for that area?
Okay, so there's a couple other things that are going on here. We're ripping out these arborvitaes here, right in front of the event center, and we're gonna be redoing the beds here, okay? Also, the area where the deer ate between 602 and 603. Yes, we finally, when I had the machines here, we ripped out the stumps. We were gonna be putting in something in there. I think it's gonna be something simple, like just some very tall grasses.
Good.
I'm going to put in something that's somewhat privacy, but if I put anything like an arborvitae, it's just like throwing a buffet out for the deer again. So I think we're gonna do something with that with maybe a little bit of color, but I just, while the machines were here, that's why I had them ripped out.
So you're not gonna do fence?
No, I'm not gonna do a
Okay.
fence. No, I think there should be something, you know, kind of, when people are driving down 28, I think they should peekaboo a little bit to see what it's like back here.
Grasses would be great.
Thank you. Yes?
How often are the patio vents cleaned out, the vents in the patio? Heating?
The question was, how often do we clean out the patio vents? Typically, once every year, once every couple years, depending on the use of it. Sometimes birds, they love that as their new home, and we find that out the hard way. So, but when we're in there doing that, and every turnover, obviously, all the vents get blown out as well.
Thank you.
Yes?
Betty has set up a website where you can make donations, contributions, swaps. This is a perfect time of year if you have perennials that you want to share. Like that.
So if anyone didn't hear
This
that.
is a time to divide them, make a note on that site and see if you get any takers.
So Betty Preble has created a website, well, on her website, she has a link for sharing. And I remember the discussion, I think it was during an association meeting, where if you're baking a cake and you don't have a bun pan, you don't want to go buy one. So who has one? Well, I have one. So it's like a sharing and lending site, which is a brilliant idea. And the same goes, making the connection now toward, we all go and buy plants, and you have to buy a flat, and there's extras. Does anyone want the extras? So you can share that way too. Great idea.
Would you like some dandelions?
Yes, Janice?
Are you hiring a gardener or somebody to give you a design for the front here?
So, Matucci Design, that does all of our lawn care and all of our landscaping needs, he is gonna come up with a basic proposal for us to take a look at to see what we wanna do.
And that's for right outside here, outside of the event center.
Yep. Any other question? Yes?
Any plans for an arborist to get after some of the trees?
I was
that-
waiting.
I forgot, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it too. We used to have Haskell Tree Service that took care of all of our ash trees and so on and so forth. They went out of business, okay, and then they went to, the new company now that took over is called Barrett, if I'm not mistaken, Barrett Tree Service. Anyway, so I met with them. There's an arborist that works for them. She's been doing this for over 45 years. Her name is Deborah Green, okay. I hired her about a month ago. Sorry, Joe. And she is a true tree arborist, and she is going to be doing a full assessment over the full campus. She was supposed to do it last week. She contacted me, and she's going to be here, I forget the date, but it is going to be next week sometime. Okay, so she is going to be going around, seeing what trees need to be trimmed, what are recommendations for the trees, so on and so forth. And after we get this recommendations, we will slowly start to figure out what we want to do. There are a lot of trees here, okay? And there's a lot of different opinions about these trees. A lot of different opinions, okay? And they range from good to bad, and it should be ripped out, the other one should be, so. But anyways, when we get that tree assessment, I will share it with you guys in regards to what we think we should do, okay?
Does that,
Go ahead.
Does that handle like the tree outside my patio, or balcony, whatever, has a lot of dead branches. They were there last year. Is that going to cover?
So back in the day, we had a lot of different opinions of, well, just trim this and just do this and just do that. I'm going to get the recommendations from Deborah in regards to when we can trim these trees, because if I'm not mistaken, you really shouldn't be trimming them now because they're in bloom. So on basically almost every tree, she's going to give me a recommendation of, I'm going to have them do some of the trimming themselves, because some of it's pretty high work, and I'll have them do it on their recommendations because they are the experts. Please understand that these people have been doing this work for a long time. Okay, I'm sure there's going to be different opinions, but this is what we're going to do to try to assess the trees around here.
And how appropriate, her name is Deborah Green. Deborah, we turned down Deborah Brown.
Yes, Brown is one. Yes.
There are a couple
Is
trees
there
out
any
behind.
designated?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Dennis, go ahead.
Oh, there are a couple trees out behind our patio home that are marked with pink ribbons. Is that part of some plan?
We've had a survey crew come out to Fox Run. They are labeling what areas are wetlands, where's our property, so on and so forth. And those tags they were for them for markings.
Yeah, is that part of another kind of plan?
It's for a couple different reasons. Number one, for when we have to update our survey for the town, and also the DEC comes in here because the wetlands changes every so many years, so they're probably out there doing that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Matt, talking about the 240, 28 rather,
Yep.
exit.
Yes.
Those trees are blighted. Your arborist may not see that because that's a later in summer type blight. She should be reminded. So maybe spray it. It might be something to spray.
I'm going to take...
The trees on the California road look healthy. I think they're all the same tree.
I will take all the recommendations from the arborist. I will be walking with her.
She may not see that until that season when that blight comes about.
Okay.
One last thing on the trees is you have a number of trees out there where the roots are actually choking the tree itself. So she needs very much to see that, whether or not they need to be trimmed or whatever.
Okay. Yes?
In terms of your total manpower, is there any designated portion of that that's attributed to outside or bed maintenance? Peg and I aren't getting, well, we're getting a little older, but it's getting harder and harder to maintain the area around the generator, which gets very little attention, and those 3 big horseshoe gardens, and the area around the gazebo. Can we count on any kind of help?
So the work that you guys do around that area is incredible, okay? But it's also 6 hours a day, almost every day, for what you guys do there. What I have had allocated is usually a half a day for 3 days a week of only grounds work, no matter what. And that's when you see Jimmy out there, okay?
Jim?
Jim, yes, okay?
But that's for the whole campus.
That's for the whole campus, that's correct.
3
So I
hours.
cannot allocate somebody in that area every single week to pull out 2 weeds, because there's been work orders where they're like, well, this bed needs to be weeded, and it was literally pointed just to 2 weeds to pull out. Okay, so I do have a full staff now, okay? So when we start working on the outside, doing mulching and beds and all that other stuff, there will be probably roughly 3 to 4 guys allocated for a day. And if it's a nice day, I'll bring more guys out there. It's also pending on what happens inside, depending on how many work orders that we have going on. It also means, well, if it's going to rain for the next 3 days, then I'm going to get everybody outside today. So it changes on a day-to-day basis. I already have my list of items that I have to do before planning day, okay, with rototilling all the beds, weeding, cutting out the edges, so on and so forth. Those things will be done before planning day. I will make sure that happens. When it comes to the minor maintenance that's around the campus, half the time when you do one bed on Tuesday in mid-May, by mid-June, you got to redo that one already. So it's kind of a vicious circle that goes around.
I was just going to add to that, I feel like it's a team effort to maintain the beds. So I was thinking perhaps we could, 220 independent people that live here, and some are coming in a little bit younger now. So maybe people want to volunteer, and you could help me come up with, like, if you're interested to help maintain some of these beds, other than 2 people in your area, maybe it could be a team effort. High school kids always need volunteer hours. Maybe we could just get more volunteer hours out of the folks that live here and our kids in the community, on top of what you're able to provide, just kind of as a group effort.
Well, it's watering, and it's not just weeding. It's the minute those plants go in the ground, it's watering every day.
Yeah, so watering.
For a couple hours.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
It's not an occasional thing.
Okay.
It's 2 to 3 hours a day for both of us.
Wow, that's a lot.
All year. Not all year, not in the winter.
We will do the best we can. We'll do the best we can. As Matt said, you only have so many hours for so many people, but that includes, and I think John's been doing a nice job of putting timers on.
We have a lot of timers
and soakers, soaking hoses. But right, it is a lot of work, and
Thank you.
and all I can say is we'll do the best we can, and with hopes from folks in the community as well. I visited Kendall at Ithaca. And this was a few years ago, and I looked at all their beds, and their beds were a mess. And what happened was residents built all the beds, and their layout's different than ours. They do have a central building like we do with apartments, but most of their units are you have to go outside to get to them. And they're like strips of almost like rows of condos. And they, at one time, had beautiful landscaping because the folks that lived there created that. But then they could no longer take care of it 10 years later, and they didn't have the staff to do it either. So I think we all run into the same problem where we build these beautiful beds, and we kind of rely on you as staff as well to help maintain and water them. We'll do the best we can, I promise. And we do have some summer help coming in. hopefully there's a part-timer that comes back in from college and he'll be able to keep watering as well. But we, as Mary said, we do rely on you a little bit. Yes?
With all the work being done, you'll still be able to fit in the day for the vendors?
Oh, for the farmer's market. Is it for the farmer's market?
Yeah,
In May?
yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. All these things, these are just some of the projects that I've been working on, okay? And another thing that I forgot after meeting about the arborist, we've also purchased new furniture for the lobby of the health center. The furniture was very low, so when they sat, they couldn't get back up. So we kind of designed better furniture to be easy, for easy cleaning, so on and so forth, to kind of dress up the lobby furniture as well, because all the furniture in there has been original as well. That's coming in the end of this month as well, and Jill really doesn't like me for that either.
So everything that Matt's listed for you are things that are typically done in a year. And kudos to Matt and his team for being able to pull this off. I don't know how Matt organizes it. I think he gets stressed out but excited at the same time. All of this is happening before the second week in June. So with that, I'm going to transition into the second week of June is when we have our summit. And the summit, and you've all heard it before, but I'll explain it a little more. There's going to be representatives from all 13 CCRCs in New York State, and they're all a different version of Foxrite. They're all very nice, they're all upscale, they all have the same concerns with grounds, they all have the same concerns with staffing, and they're all going to be here so that we can share information. There'll be the afternoon will be sessions with classes, courses that teach all of us, but then we get to share back and forth. But by coming to a community rather than just meeting at a neutral site, they get to see what we do, and it's our chance to show off your home. So we're jamming a lot in a short period of time, and we get to show how we're better than all of them. So what's going to happen is they'll be here at lunchtime on Wednesday, which is, I believe, the 14th. And Lisa and her team will get to show off a little bit and feed them lunch. And we have classes. We'll have national speakers come in, which is very exciting. And then it ends at about 5 o'clock, and then they're all going to go to East Aurora. And we're meeting at the bank, if anyone knows where that is. It's a new venue, fairly new venue. A gentleman from Texas moved here and wanted to find a nice school district to raise their, he and his wife to raise their child. And as a hobby, they converted this bank into a venue, and we're going to host dinner there. And again, Lisa and her team will be making dinner there. Again, a chance to show off a little bit. And then they're going to come back, and then they're going to have some fun and go out. You know, there's bars and stuff in East Aurora. And come back the next morning for another half day of classes. So it will be, yes, this is your home, and we're going to invade it a little bit with another group like we did last night, but it is our chance to show off. We'll be taking this room over, probably Creative Arts room, probably the card room, because about 75, 80 people here for a solid stretch, a solid 2 half-day period. So we'll be taking your space, but it'll be for good reason, and hopefully we get to learn a lot as to what we can do better for all of you. Any questions on that? Yes, Jan?
Will there be any intermingling with the residents?
Yes, thank you for that. So we're going to ask you to be almost like at Disney, where you're just going to pretend you're working on something. In this one, this is Jan and her team, and Bob will be in the greenhouse pretending he's watering things. You know, there will be, and I'm going to see if there's any opportunity to have some folks attend some of the courses as well. Because I think that would be nice if we have the space and you want to hear a presentation. Some of the things I've suggested, we're going to have a presenter that talks about customer service by Disney. I had attended this in East Aurora, and it's a gentleman who lives there, and he's going to come and do a session. We're going to learn about generations, because the silent generation has very different needs and wants than the baby boomers, right? And it's dramatically different. So we need to learn how to adapt, and not just for you who all live here, because there's a couple generations in this room, but the next one's coming up. So we're going to learn a lot as regulations, what's on the horizon with our old COVID regulations, how those are changing. So it'll be really interesting. If there's some things that I can get some of you in here, I think that would be great. But yes, we're gonna try to mingle, we're gonna give tours, and, just like the old open houses, and just find a way to, because as beautiful as the building is, you're the biggest prize. So we like to share that too. Yes, Alan?
Bill, is CCRC a designation only for New York State, or is that a nationwide?
You are very sharp.
Because I want to know, my sister's in Colorado.
So long ago, they invented this term, CCRC, you all know, Continuing Care Retirement Community. And then the association called Leading Age nationally said they spent millions to rename it to Life Plan Communities. And almost every state has formally adopted Life Plan Community. New York State still calls it a CCRC. So yes, it's the same thing. And you'll hear me occasionally refer to us in other settings. If I'm doing a speaking engagement, I'll refer to us as a Life Plan Community because that's more popular. Because we're New York State, we're a little behind, we're a little slower to adapt. Yes, Bob?
While all three of you are here, I've asked before for Father and also for the other religious groups here, if there's a closet like you have up in healthcare. All right, we had a flood up there, right?
Right.
And I wonder if any of those closets got damaged, that they're not good enough for the rooms, that we could bring one down here to gather everything that's stored. The communion trees are on the floor, there's signs in there, there's crosses, there's all kinds of things.
It's pretty disorganized.
Right, yes. That would help put it together in a neater form.
I'm going to explain to what you want to Matt. A closet, like they have up in skilled nursing for all their clothes. If we have one that was maybe damaged, can we put one in this back storage room for all the things for the church services? Sure, we'll look into it.
Sure, we'll look into it.
Yeah, so we can look into storage and to see, because I know what you had mentioned it to me, so I think we can take a peek to see if something.
It's pretty disorganized back there. Yeah, we definitely need to organize it better.
Something.
So now this is open for question. This is now open for questions for any of us, not just Matt. So it's kind of like an open forum if you have anything. No questions? Okay. Yes, Sue.
Whatever happened to the chapel that was to be designed on the second floor, and Judy Burgess had donated something that was to be in the chapel?
So Judy Burgess was a former board member at Fox Run, and she had donated something that her father had built. And rather than a chapel, when we did our expansion in the health center, we made it a non-denominational meditation room.
Okay.
So that room it was built, and then we had the pandemic, and it's never been used. So it's kind of sitting there with a couple pictures that still have to go back on the wall. But Matt's focus has been on a lot of other projects. They're hung? Okay. What about the water thing? That works. Okay, so we haven't formally announced it, but it is open for business. So, and the folks upstairs have been in there, I believe. Allie? I will in a second. Yes, Reverend Hakes?
Oh, it's done and it's beautiful.
Okay, you've been in there? Okay, so the meditation room. So if anyone wants to check it out, well, it's almost hard to describe it. It's been so long since we've kind of had the flow of traffic going in there, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you head to the health center, and right as soon as you walk into the doors of assisted living, there's an elevator to your right. Go up to the elevator, it's right off the elevator. And there's a sign on the door that says meditation room. And with that, so the reason we haven't used it, and folks haven't gone over there, is regulation. All this testing we have to do. You can't visit anyone, this is going back a couple months, unless you test for COVID. Not only is that regulation gone, but we're hoping as of Monday we no longer have to wear masks in the health center at all. So the reason we wear masks is it's again based on New York State Department of Health. The county you live in has to be below what they call high level, and it has now dipped below high for the first time since the pandemic. As of this week, we decided to wait to make sure it wasn't a fluke until next week. So on Monday, Allie, our administrator, gets a report. If we're still below high, no more masks in the health center. Unless you didn't get a flu shot, which is an old regulation going back about 15 years.
That's only for staff.
And that's only for staff. So visitors, residents, and staff no longer have to wear a mask unless you're a staff member that didn't get a flu shot. Yes.
Any plans for acoustic improvement in the Oak Room under the wood? Was that, did I miss something in the?
So the question was there any plans for acoustics in the Oak Room? For right now, yes, the company that I'm looking into for the special fabric in the one area, I'm gonna see if they can custom make some fabrics for that inside of that coffer ceiling. Yeah, the wood area. Yes, I am looking into that. But that's pretty much all we're gonna do for the Oak Room, because right now, the amount of projects that we have going on, and, you know, Jill's looking at me right now. So, any other questions?
I got a question. Can I ask a question? Recently, a resident came to me and asked me, and this is for you, Ally, too, about the family room up in skilled nursing. And she was wondering at some point, and she was gonna work with Jen on this, if we could get a bunch of games up there. So this room is near the meditation room, and it's for families of people either in rehab or if their loved one is in skilled nursing, kind of a gathering spot. And a resident just asked, could we make it a little bit more user-friendly? Like, is there a possibility of having a little fridge in there with water, or I know there's a lot of regulations, or she was asking if we could put games up there for when grandkids come, a Keurig, just making it more of a spot where people can visit comfortably. And I said that I would mention it to you and to Jen Pelican, who's out right now, but yeah.
So I think that's a great idea. Again, I just keep coming back to how different things have been. We built this brand new addition. We had all these ideas with the family room, a meditation room, and then it all vanished for 3 years. And so be patient and allow us to get back to what we originally planned with up there. And we held some meetings in that family room. It's really nice. And I know I do see families in there, but yeah, we should make it more inviting.
It was a suggestion of somebody who loves kids, so I thought, okay.
No sink.
No sink?
No sink.
Okay, no
There's a
sink.
bathroom in there, so there's a sink. Any other questions? Yes, Sue.
May I say thank you very much to the three of you, to anybody in the back. This has been excellent this morning.
Thank you, Sue. Another question.
One last thing. I did that talk a month or so ago, and I had to use those mics. And I had a number of things that were show and tell. It was very difficult to hold it to your mouth. And I know we had those collar mics, lavaliers or whatever they call them. I'm told they don't work.
Why you gotta look at
That's
me?
what I was told that. But it would have made the presentation or some other people's presentations much simpler.
Yeah, I thought they were.
There is another project that I've been working on as well, and it does involve this. Part of the bistro renovation is also including a audio and video upgrade system for the bistro. The company that it looks like we're going to be hiring is a new local company, and that's all they do is audio and video. Okay, when we had the event center upgraded.
It's got to be about 4 years.
About roughly 4 years ago, we had some issues, well not issues, but when the new system got updated, there was some internal turmoil with that company, and the company was based out of Rochester. Okay, so when they updated this system, they didn't update everything because it didn't seem necessary at that time. The company that is updating the bistro has also taken a look at this as well. Part of that project will be tweaking this as well. They did mention that 90% of this system is great. It just needs a couple other things to be tweaked, reprogrammed, and one piece of equipment added to this to make this a little bit more user-friendly, because whenever this system goes down, it's always at 7 o'clock at night when the one maintenance guy does not know how to turn on the system or reboot the system. When this system is fully updated along with the bistro, the nice thing about it is they will be able to work on the system remotely. So if we do a service call, we will call them, they can log into the system remotely, and most of the time stuff like this just needs to be rebooted it's basically unplug and plug back in and it works, or a reset button. Okay, I hate to say it, but that's what it takes now just to fix these things. But yes, as far as the microphones are concerned, they checked these 2 microphones, actually 4, and these work fine. They are going to be updating those,
Lavaliers.
the lavenders, whatever they're called.
Whatever they-
Lavenders, yes, those will be
We know
updated as
what we're
well.
talking about.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Hope you have a nice, oh, wait, Jan Brunner, everyone.
Council President.
Some time ago, we talked about getting an electronic jukebox in the bistro. Is that idea still available to us? Or is anybody interested in having a jukebox? No.
Sorry.
I got the sense that the piano is too loud. I don't know why.
Well, it would be controlled.
Okay, we haven't talked about that at all since you mentioned that, but we can certainly bring it up again and maybe do a little survey inside, just informal, and see what folks want.
Okay.
We can put an Alexa in a.
Well, since you're doing the audio thing, I just thought maybe that would be.
That's probably not a bad idea to have it available if there's going to be better sound in there. If we need to do a presentation, like say Lisa and her team are at the Culinary Center and the counter, and with that, if we have the ability to tap in music, we can
Something
certainly,
like that.
because it's not something you want to use every time, but
Exactly.
certain occasions we could. Yeah, good idea.
Anything else?
Matt,
Yes.
this is for you. When you talk about furniture, replacing furniture, are you going to continue with the arts and crafts look of this whole place? I think that would be nice.
So replacing the question was replacing the furniture. The furniture that we're replacing is just for the lobby in the health center reception area. That's the only, and that's going to maintain with the theme that's in the health center area.
It's more of an arts and crafts or kind of a mission style thing, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would look good. And what about the bistro? You said you're replacing the stools?
Yes, we're replacing the stools. When we had the decorator here and they were giving us samples, you're going to hate it, you're going to love it, you might like it, you may not like it. So we actually had let's just say a mini team that we kind of came up with the decision of what to go with.
Modern?
No, not.
It'd be very similar to the style we have now.
Yes, it's nothing that's going to stand.
It's more different fabric backings.
Any other questions?
Okay, thanks. Have a good weekend.
Bye.